Are you looking for the best fight sequence of 2024? Then look no further, my friends, 'cause WindBreaker got you covered. The choreography and impact on this show will make Baki and Ashura feel like child play. Don't believe me? Stick to the end and see for yourself. A man is seen walking on a tight rope trying to prove he's worth to his ex. He kept on seeing flashbacks of her toxic friends and started wobbling in the face of adversity. As he moved forward, the weight of his past discrimination and trauma kept hunting him, painting the usual low-life storyline, of course. He awoke from his dream feeling depressed and went out of the house looking for groceries. The neighborhood looked quite peaceful and cozy, but then again, there's always one smart prick trying to act tough. Seriously, ganging up on a girl? Don't you have anything better to do? That's when our heroic protagonist decided to make a scene in a spectacular blaze of fury. His fists spoke in volumes and laid them all to rest like it was harvesting season. That's Sakura for you. Wait a minute, isn't that a female name? Speaking of girls, the naughty hottie grabbed him by the arm and gave this man his first genuine boner, 'cause you can tell all the blood rushed out of his brain. Afterwards, she decided to make him a meal and started asking him a few personal questions. She sure is a feisty gal. I'm starting to like her. She went by the name Kotoha and was in charge of the cafe. Sakura was weirded out by the entire process, since no one ever showed him any compassion. As soon as she asked him about his hair, he started getting defensive and squared up. What's with this meathead? Is fighting all he ever thinks about? He then started talking about his past and why he came to Furin High School, which was known as the Fighter's Oasis. Only the best brawlers can survive there, and Kotoha immediately dismissed his ambition, since he was still weak compared to the Furin seniors, who were total badasses. As she was mocking him, an elderly gentleman walked out, bidding them both farewell. Just then, Sakura handed him a bag he forgot, and this prompted Kotoha to reward his good behavior. Way to condition the little delinquent. Who knew this guy had any emotions? He kept on throwing a hissy fit since they treated him right, and she told him to take things easy for now, since there was no way he was climbing the ranks in Furin. Her speech was stern, and her attitude provoked him into rethinking his life decisions. I told you she was a feisty lioness. He left her cafe and started walking around town when he saw a bunch of hoodlums causing a ruckus. They were the same ones he beat up earlier and sought to take revenge. Wait a minute, isn't this a tad bit unfair? It's like 1 versus 30 out here. At least fight him one-on-one. Where is your honor, you scoundrels? The douchebag kept on talking high and mighty and triggered a deep memory Sakura wanted to forget. He landed a clean punch and started summoning his demons. He then leapt into battle and showed them all who's the boss around here. He took them all on his own, and mind you, these guys were using weapons. Now this is what I call a decent fist fight. This guy certainly knew how to throw hands. However, they fought dirty and tried taking his crush hostage. That didn't work since he blew them off and started protecting her, but due to her presence, he was cornered and was unable to move freely. Things did not look well, and Sakura was in a dire situation until Furin seniors came to the rescue. How powerful are these guys? Well, I guess we're about to find out what Furin is really capable of. These 4 formed a wall and started going at it like there was no tomorrow. Sakura was upset about the whole situation since he wanted to be the one in the limelight. The entire neighborhood cheered on Furin since they considered them as their heroes. Kotoha explained how Furin came one day and started cleansing the town and protecting its citizens. Do these guys have a savior complex or something? Regardless, they knew how to fight and battled with honor and pride. Sakura could not believe his eyes, since the Furin he knew were delinquents who always battled for dominance. But these guys, they were nothing like he imagined. The citizens came by and started cheering Sakura on, but this caused him to go paranoid and screamed at them. They tried easing his concerns, but he kept on shouting like a little insecure brat. When will he learn to succumb and accept his fate? This is his new home now. He then ran and leaped into the air to deliver a flying kick to the dummy who refused to quit. I guess he is embracing his place as a hero. Behold, Sakura Man. The following day, Sakura went back to the cafe after giving an old lady a piggyback ride. Well, that was unexpected. How much does he charge per mile? The old lady thanked him for his assistance, and Kotoha decided to make him breakfast before the entrance ceremony. Are these two starting to kick it off? She kept on casually teasing him and pushing his buttons, Suddenly, a clumsy brat walked in and started to show off his chic looks. Who does this guy think he is? Unfortunately, he hadn't removed the tag and made a fool out of himself. As he squirmed on the ground, he had lost all of Sakura's respect. He even got up and started analyzing his hair, assuming his stress was responsible for this deformation. Some people don't possess a filter when they talk, huh? After introductions were over, the little brat started acting high and mighty by lecturing our boy about Furin. He considered them as heroes of justice and was against the idea of a delinquent joining the school. Just punch this guy already, he talks too much. Or just ignore him and eat your meal, that's one way of putting a cork in it. Sakura then revealed that he wanted to be number one, and once again, taking the top spot made him sound delirious. It just makes you wonder how powerful Furin seniors actually are. The brat left him with bitter words, and Sakura was left with a sour taste in his mouth. Kotoha stood there listening to another tedious lecture from this wannabe. When will the action really begin, though? Are they seriously giving us a lesson on coffee? Hey, we didn't pay to see this. Let him punch somebody or something. This feels like watching an MMA press conference. Afterwards, Sakura went out and was invited to taste some delicious croissants for free, courtesy of the townfolk in honor of Furin's bravery. Call it a quid pro quo if you may. Sakura took some gifts here and there, and everyone was acting super polite to him, which was unprecedented in a way. He ended up carrying a bunch of groceries and felt a warmth in his heart. Elsewhere, the dorky little brat was getting thrown around by a bunch of fake thugs trying to act tough. Real men fight one-on-one, and no one can change my mind. Anyone who chooses to gang up on someone is weak by default. Luckily, our boy swooped in with an awesome kick, and this guy looked badass doing it. Sakura sure loved the thrill of the battle, and he was ready for the smoke. After the smoke settled, he smoked them into oblivion. Too bad it was an off-screen fight. Sounds like a Blackbeard copycat. Half darkness fruit and half tremor, if you know what I mean. After being saved, the kid decided to narrate his sad backstory for some reason, since when did side characters start hogging the limelight? Sakura better step his game up before he gets booted out of the stage. He heard enough of the bickering and decided to give the chump a pep talk. The tiny squirm actually had the balls to protect the lady. Chivalry might still be alive. Her compliments got to Sakura's head, but the weeb had to ruin the moment with his incessant questions. What a party pooper. Didn't he get his ass handed to him a few moments ago? What's with the current boost of morale? Either way, he dragged Sakura to Furin during Sakura season. What are the odds? Before going to school, he had to take a bite and re-energize his fuel, because going to Furin is tantamount to walking into a lion's den, the source of wilderness and the home of wild beasts. Furin promises to welcome the best fighters from across the country, a safe haven of fighters and a utopia for brawlers. Sakura was pumped up to go inside while the blondie kept giving off Sigma vibes. His cowardice is quite contagious. However, Sakura was the ideal immune given his aggressiveness nature. He ignored his warning and scoffed his weakness. Our boy started warming up since shit was about to get down. Hold on to your seats, 'cause the Royal Rumble is dawning upon us. In the right corner, we had the two-haired fanatic, Sakura the human serpent. In his left were the entirety of the Class 1 attendees, the scariest and the meanest amateurs Japan had to offer. Sakura squared up against the one-eyed dancer, Hayato, who engaged in a polite conversation to throw them off guard. Never trust a man with an eye patch. They are all devious and cunning pirates ready to loot your... Oh, never mind. This guy is a fluffy teddy bear. He wasn't about that thug life. After Hayato explained Sakura's earlier bravery, everyone chimed in to narrate the tales of the heroic savior. I guess his reputation precedes him. However, he decided to blurt out his foolish ambitions of earning the top spot, and this garnered the wrath of Kyo, the human combustion man, with the shortest temper ever known to Furin. The class was in an uproar awaiting the clash of the two giants, a battle between an aggressive berserker and a nimble ninja. The new kid in the block was making a name for himself by dodging and weaving with precision. Using his unorthodox martial arts, he actually landed a clean strike. Color me impressed. This guy was not only able to hold his own against the top fighter in the class, but he was actually gunning for the top spot. Unfortunately, the broadcast interrupted their flow, and the guys behind the mic kept on squabbling like delusional teenagers. Apparently, they were the top dogs who ran Furin, and the leader began to address his loyal army. Look at them cowering in their boots. Is this guy as strong as they claim he is? Would he be able to defeat Baki in a fight? I'm certain he isn't Yujiro level, so why are they so terrified of him? Perhaps he was the undisputed champion. Regardless, his speech was longer than a boring elevator ride with no background music. In a nutshell, he wanted them to act like saviors and give Furin a good name. This could have been said in a sentence or two. Perhaps he likes the sound of his own voice. Afterward, Sakura started picking a fight once again, but after the boss's speech, no one wanted to lift a finger, let alone throw a fist. Way to dampen the mood. A truce this early in the game? What's with these cowards? Is this a rom-com or a fight anime? Might as well cook a barbecue for these soft wannabe punks. How would they fare in an actual battle? Are they seriously painting a wall? Now this is getting ridiculous. Are they here to fight or renovate the building? Sounds like forced labor to me. 4 Years a Slave Part 2, since the education system in this school sounds a lot like Alcatraz. Sakura was left confused, and if you pause the video, you can notice the background characters aren't even moving. Talk about lazy animation. I mean, look at them. It's crazy how lazy some scenes could be. I wouldn't call them incompetent per se, but it is concerning. Why are they cutting corners? Perhaps to compensate for the fights. WindBreaker still has a lot to go before succeeding as a fight anime. There's more fluff in this story than action. Look at them now. They're just walking in the neighborhood and talking about security. I mean, where is the thrill of the hunt? Where is the conflict? What is the plot point driving this story forward? They're literally acting like normal civilians in a casual setting. What's fun about that? But wait, the intensity of the scene just shifted. The atmosphere was tense, and you can tell trouble was brewing around the corner. Sakura was then introduced to Shishitoran, the other gang in town. Speak of the devils and they shall arrive. Some yellow-jacketed Shistoran guys were chasing a Furin student, and Sakura had to butt in before things went south. The rest were shocked, while Sakura was feeling confident. The guy was knocked out cold, but his friends kept on making fun of him. A creepy figure named Joe walked by, and Joe must have been short for Joker since he continued to act childish. The Furin general, Hiragi, stepped up to de-escalate the situation, but things went sideways real quick when Joe attacked his own man. Wait a minute, what was that for? Why is he beating up his own soldier? Even Hiragi was upset when he saw Joe taking the other guy's jacket. Sakura stepped up to the bully and was mocked senselessly. This guy gave off cool and sinister vibes. He was chill, but terrifying. What was Sakura thinking? Does this man even a brain to think? Good thing Hiragi warned them about Shishitoran and took them back their headquarters. Up in the roof, the big bad wolf, also known as Umemiya, was gardening his Eden. Hiragi approached him with bad news, but the guy was lost in his own world to even care. Is this guy really the leader of Furin? He had already lost the respect of the newbies, and it didn't help when he continued talking about plants. Sounds like a weakling if you ask me. Hiragi was upset by his eccentric behavior, and for some reason, Sakura was feeling upset as well. The kid who got beaten up started to apologize for his reckless behavior and even cried on the spot. Fortunately, Umemiya didn't scold him. In fact, he encouraged him to do good and promised to protect everyone. Where is the macho leader we were promised of? This guy is just a chill dude who seems to roll fat blunts in the morning. He pats Sakura's head and tries talking down to him. Sakura is feeling awkwardly happy about all of this, and they're suddenly interrupted by a phone call, followed up by Shishitoran's leader, Choji, calling them out. What a confident little prick. While Sakura watched on in excitement, a blazing fury emanated from Umemiya, who stormed out of there like a mafia boss. What was that just now? When did the innocent little gardener turn into a vicious warrior all of a sudden? Sakura was amazed by his posture and attitude change. These two heavyweights stared at one another until Choji started acting like a little kid who hasn't received any attention from his parents. This monkey wouldn't stop moving around and seemed to have wiped the floor with Furin's boys. He then unleashed a monstrous kick, which was easily blocked by the powerhouse that is Umemiya. Choji then challenged him to a fight and boasted about how he's going to steal Furin right from under his nose. Who does this little twerp think he is? To make matters worse, the entire Shishitoran gang huddled beside him like an NFL squad. The prick from earlier, Joe, kept on running his mouth as usual, and Furin stepped up to face them head-on. Sakura held his ground while Choji kept on complaining endlessly. After the entire Furin squad was eyeing the battlefield, Umemiya stepped up and asked for a fair battle. The generals chipped in and started trash-talking as well. Given no option, Joe suggested a group battle. His condescending nature was a bit off-putting, and Choji agreed to the stipulations. The Team Upius were chosen, and everyone was in accordance. Even Hiragi was pumped up. Oh boy, now this is what we paid for, a classic brawl. Later on, they all headed to the cafe to strategize their next move and grab a delicious bite. Sakura was digging in like crazy, while the rest seemed lost and confused. Soon enough, the boss walked in feeling jovial and showed off his latest work, while the rest spread rumors about them dating. Umemiya then corrected them, calling her his little sister. It seems these two grew up in the same foster home and had a deep bond. The atmosphere shifted all of a sudden, and things got intense. Even Hiragi was in on it. What's with the mood shifts with these Furin fighters? They then explained the basics of Shishitoran to the newbies and how things were back then. However, after Choji took over, things changed drastically for everyone involved. Umemiya chipped in and informed Sakura how fighting was more than throwing hands. Rather, it was a conversation to be had with your opponent. They bid each other farewell and decided to call it a night. Sakura went back home with some heavy words resting on his shoulders. The following day, they made their way to Shishitoran headquarters, and everyone was feeling pumped. Choji led the way excitedly, and these guys were walking straight into the lion's den. The Furin boys must have balls of steel, to be honest. They started squabbling amongst one another, and they finally made it to the main warehouse. The place is giving me the creeps. As soon as they walked in, they were met with the whole squad nervously anticipating a fierce brawl. Talk about a wild environment. Choji riled them up, and Umemiya gave a heartfelt speech before bidding them good luck. Kyotaro stepped up first, and Sakura warned him not to lose, or else. He was up against a cocky nobody called Arima. Umemiya was confident in his boy, while Arima talked a big game and used the boss to distract the loyal puppy. His punch held no weight, and Kyotaro crushed him in one swoop. Oh well, that was over quick. What happened to all the big talk? Was the fight really over? Choji applauded his effort, and Joe had to restrain the wild beast. Umemiya, on the other hand, was proud of his warrior, while Sakura was unfazed by his performance. Soon after, Joe got up and Choji gave the command to clean the rubble. These guys have no sense of loyalty or integrity. Sakura told them off, and they tried picking a fight until Choji gave them a strict warning. Soon after, Hayato was up next and decided to provoke Sakura by telling him he wasn't the best. He was faced against an opponent named Minoru, and Hayato's teammates were talking behind his back, exaggerating his strength. Minoru kept on complaining before the fight and jumped into battle. However, Hayato had some seriously impressive moves in his repertoire. I'm guessing this guy was proficient in martial arts, perhaps Shaolin Kung Fu or Aikido, based on his stance and movement, of course. His moves were too elegant to be considered as karate or taekwondo. Hiragi and Umemiya were complimenting his style of fighting and were highly impressed. Hayato was literally making a mockery of his opponent, throwing him around like a rag doll. Things were not going the way Shishitoran had imagined, and Hayato wasn't about to let them have their way. He scared this guy to the core and even ended up giving him a lecture. Joe decided to end the fight before he humiliated them anymore. Poor kid, losing must suck. Furin boys were wiping the floor with them. 2 rounds, and they're on a hot streak. Sakura was feeling pumped as well and tried picking a fight. After the loser was discarded by his own pals, they groveled on the floor like pathetic wimps. Sakura then got up out of excitement, however. Hiragi took center stage by bossing him. He told him how Joe was the second in command and entrusted the victory to him. Quite the persuasive speech he gave. Umemiya explained how these two had history, and Joe inquired what happened in his usual smug manner. It seems Sako was involved with Furin in the past, and Hiragi was upset about the unexpected betrayal. Friends turned enemies. This fight should be awesome. They went at it, and you could immediately tell how good they were. This is how professionals are supposed to fight. The previous brawls were a joke compared to these. Their speed, their power, and overall efficiency in combat was a sight to behold. They've honed their skills through countless years of training and experience. Even Joe and Choji were impressed since they've never seen him go all out before. Look at them go, battling it out like their lives depended on them. In a flashback, we saw how Hiragi was the one who taught him how to fight, but now he was getting his ass handed to him in a silver plate. Sakura got up and started insulting Hiragi and his weakness. Umemiya told them to wait, since Hiragi was one of the 4 generals of Furin. Just then, our boy got up and was ready for round 2. He was known as the god of war and was typically considered as a berserker. This man feels no pain and started unleashing a flurry of blows. The newbies were amazed by the performance, and we were shown another flashback of Sako getting bullied and Hiragi saving him. That's the reason he trained him and offered him to join his team. This two were inseparable, until Hiragi told him he was no longer the leader in Furin. This caused Sako to lose his mind and was eventually recruited by Shishitoran. Seems like maniacs of the same asylum flocked together, huh? So wait, does that mean he never joined Furin? In the present, Sako was showing off but got dropped and blocked easily. It was obvious that Hiragi was the superior fighter here. A melancholic tune started playing and a sob story started to follow. Was this the moment of realization for Sako, or was his life flashing before his eyes? Shishitoran were shocked by the result while Furin were chilling like nothing happened. Joe got up and asked them to remove the loser. However, Hiragi took the courtesy and did it for him. He then squashed Joe's arm and warned him to watch out. Does this mean Hiragi believes in Sakura? But one thing is certain, Umemiya has full faith in his general. We are then flashed back to Shishitoran's past, or at least a glimpse before Joe came back to reality. He was ready for his match and called upon our boy. The crowd was going wild, and Furin wished their star pupil good luck. Oh boy, he's going to need it, since Joe doesn't look like the type to go easy. He might seem chill and carefree, but don't get distracted by his nonchalant disguise. This guy is an absolute demon when it comes to battle. Sakura was in over his head, challenging the second in command. Joe was toying with him at this point, since his speed was way beyond anything Sakura had ever imagined. Even so, he held his own while Furin started to grow worried. Does he even have a chance against this maniac? His moves were precise and lethal, and his flawless technique was being showcased. Shishitoran was cheering on as Sakura was getting absolutely trashed. Was the fight over already? Well, that was anticlimactic. Wait a minute, our boy had some drive left in him and decided to give it one more shot. Who knew this chump had some fire in him? Now this is a battle we've been dying to see. Their moves were beyond ridiculous, and their power made professional fighters feel like a joke. Can these guys succeed as boxers or mixed martial artists? I'd suppose so. Sakura was hit with a devastating kick, but refused to back down and held on for dear life. He tried giving a motivational speech, but things didn't go as he expected. Joe backed out for a bit and started interrogating the two losers who were causing a ruckus the other day. He ended up beating the life out of them and took their coats. These guys sure are ruthless. In another flashback, we saw young Joe tearing up the old Shishitoran squad on his own. That's when he met Choji, who welcomed him into the team. He tried resisting, but Choji wasn't about to take no for an answer. It seems that his enthusiasm was contagious. One fateful day, Choji tried explaining the concept of devotion to power to Joe. He idolized strength above all else and started making a name for himself. Choji was all about the warrior life, and Joe supported his cause fully. He believed in his ideology and wanted to spread it everywhere alongside him. They had fun times until one tragic day. Joe found Choji sitting alone and feeling depressed. It seems that being the leader of Shishitoran wasn't what he expected, since he wasn't as happy or free. That's when something snapped in Choji's mind and wanted everyone to be super strong. When a couple of their men came along all beaten up, he kicked them down and told them to fight on their own. He took their coats and declared that weaklings do not belong in the squad. That's when the ideology of devotion to power bore fruition. As a result, Joe decided to take on the responsibility of culling the amateurs on behalf of Choji. He basically ended up as the executioner. In the present, he and Sakura were giving it their all, and neither one of them was backing down. Even so, Sakura was growing faster while Joe started lagging behind, almost like Joe was going through a midlife crisis. What happened to the beast inside of him? It's almost like he lost all the will to fight. He kept on reminiscing like crazy and seemed infatuated with Choji and the idea of turning things around. As he stood there helplessly ranting about his life and how things changed, Sakura couldn't care less about his sob backstory. He demanded a fair fight and asked him to man up. He then launched into action and started chasing him around with the will to kill. Joe zoned out once again and started remembering what Choji said to him that day. the moment his life changed for good. He was wondering if the decision he made that day was right, but Sakura wasn't giving him any breathing space to think. These two started slugging things out and decided to end things once and for all. They lashed out with everything they had and gave everyone a fight worth remembering. They were monsters and gave their best. Seriously, this is top-notch fighting if I've ever seen one. The choreography is on point, and their moves were phenomenal. Furin was left baffled by their boy while Choji was dialed in. Sakura, for one, was having fun, and so was Joe, who had the time of his life. In a last attempt, Sakura managed to knock the guy out and change his life views once and for all. They leaped into the air while Joe's life started flashing before his eyes. Without moving their mouth or uttering a word, they were able to converse with their fists and communicate with their will. It was finally over, and Joe decided to give up. Everyone was in shock, especially Sakura, who refused to accept his submission. Choji stepped up and started calling Umemiya, and when Joe tried to intervene, he was swatted away like a fly. Sakura wasn't about to let that slide, but the boss came to thwart his revenge. He praised his efforts and congratulated them both for the remarkable spectacle. It was now time for the big guys to face off. The leader of Furin against the leader of Shishitoran. This ought to be exciting. It was raining outside, and this increased the intensity of the battle. Choji insulted Shishitoran for being weak and launched at Umemiya like a serpent, and a bull gave birth to a fierce tiger. This guy's fighting style was truly unique, and everyone was afraid for the outcome. Is this the true power of the leaders? No wonder they were undisputed. Umemiya turned up and gave Choji a nosebleed with a single punch. They then went at it again with their fast-paced punches, which left everyone speechless. How was Choji even able to move like that, and what sort of power does Umemiya possess? Are these two even human? They must be cyborgs or something. Choji, for one, had demons within him, and his style of fighting reflected that. Umemiya was a powerhouse who could defeat even a bear at this pace. Soon enough, it was obvious Choji was on the losing end, since Umemiya started giving him the Naruto speech. This caused Choji to lose control and lash out like a little kid, but luckily, Umemiya put him in his place. Choji started zoning out and went to a dark place. Was this guy acoustic? He must have a few screws loose. He started narrating about how cold and dark the world actually was and how devoid it felt. This sounds like someone with depression, to be honest. He screamed his guts out and gained supernatural strength, allowing him to pummel Umemiya to the floor. Sakura tried screaming out, but it was no good. Umemiya seemed like he lost all faith. Choji used him as a human punching bag to vent out all his frustration. That's when Umemiya went down memory lane and started explaining how admired the old cheerful Choji. The freak he is staring at now wasn't the real Choji, and this was disappointing. As he laid his hands on his face, he gave him a solid headbutt, which helped him meditate on the past. He went back in time to the first induction Shishitoran gave him. Back then, Choji was this innocent, jovial kid who used to hang out and laugh. He was so full of life until it all vanished before his eyes. Afterwards, he felt nothing but darkness, and the ground shattered beneath his feet. In the present, he awoke from his slumber to behold Joe and Umemiya staring at him. Did they feel pity for him? Regardless, it seems that Choji had a change in heart and asked Joe to reform Shishitoran and bring it back to the glory days. Joe in turn apologized for his incompetence and how he failed him throughout the whole journey. What's with the sob stories all of a sudden? Aren't they going to fight anymore? Well, it seems that Choji found his resolution as a warrior and decided to pull off a Thorfinn all of a sudden. He apologized and thanked Umemiya for his support. However, the boss declined his offer and told him to keep Shishitoran, since Furin was more than sufficient for him. Well, that's all for this episode of Windbreakers. Hope you liked the high-intensity battles and dramatic plot twists. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to stay updated on future content.